All right, welcome to AI Automation Bootcamp Day 2. Yesterday, we looked into Introduction to n8n, where we just played around n8n, understanding how n8n works, and then we used the triggers, we used the nodes, and yeah, we sent an email. Today, we're also going to send an email as well, but we're going to be extracting information from a Google Sheet, and then we're going to be using that same information to actually send an email. So that's basically a summary of what we're going to be doing today. Uh, so without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, today being the second day of this bootcamp, what we're going to be trying to do. Initially, we are supposed to actually check out how webhooks work. Well, let's start out with being able to call a Google Sheet. So what we're going to start by doing is we're going to create a Google Sheet. So we're just going to go to, yeah, just search Google Sheets, come here. All you have to do is just sign in. If you already have a Google account, just sign in with your Google account, and so that you can access your Google or create a Google Sheet. So we're going to create a blank spreadsheet. All right, so we are just trying to create a Google Sheet that has like information about a company name, their product, and their email address. So we're just going to use this for an example. Let's say uh, company name. Then the second bar will have product, and then the third bar we are going to have email. Now that's email, yeah, email. And then let's, for an example, we're going to do let's use Brando. Products, let's say AI automation. Email address, we're going to use, let's see, let's still use Gibran. Just use for host family media. And second company, let's use Jetsy. Drinks. Then we can just use brand of smart tech. And gmail.com. Yeah, so let's save this Google Sheet. Let's say example 1. So by that we have saved this Google Sheet right here. So we're going to go back to n8n, and we're going to create workflow. So we are in our n8n interface. So let's start. Let's use we used the manual trigger yesterday, so let's just use a schedule trigger. This happens every day, 1 day interval. Let's say it happens at 6 a.m. every day. Let's see, at 6:30. Yes, 30 minutes. Yeah, so we're going to come here. and we are going to call upon that Google Sheet. So if we come here, we're just going to type in Google Sheets. All right, if you go down here, you will see Google Sheets. Now you have several options. You can either create spreadsheet, delete spreadsheet, append or update rows in sheet, append rows in sheets, clear sheet, create sheet, delete sheet, get rows, and update rows. So for this example, we are going to get rows in sheet. So if we come here, what we'll see is that now we will be told to create a credential, and just like yesterday that we created the credential, that just since it was something that has to do with Google, it's very simple and straightforward to create your Google Sheets. You're just going to have to use your Google account. Then you see this, you connect with your Google account, select all. Once you've done this, your Google Sheets has been successfully connected to your n8n. Yes, and then you want to do sheet within document. Yes, sheet within document. We're getting rows. Yes, we get in rows, and then list. What this does, as soon as you have connected your credential, which means you have connected your Google Sheet to your n8n account, everything that is available inside your Google Sheet is supposed to be able to be seen here in your n8n. So if we go back here, you remember that the name of that particular sheet that I created is called example 1. And as soon as I tapped on search here, it's immediately showed me example 1. So we're just going to tap on example 1 and choose from list. We're going to use sheet 1. And once we execute this workflow, we'll find out that every information that is inside the Google Sheet is seen here in the table. Now we can see the first name is Brandov, AI Automation, Purpose, Family Media, and right here is Brandov. Yeah, this is showing this because that, but I think there's an error in the company name. Company email. Okay, Brandov Smart Tech. Yeah. So we're going to try to execute this again. Alright, I feel like I am making mistakes in that email address. So we're going to handle that later, but then let's move forward. So what we're trying to do here today is we're trying to show you how you can get information from your Google Sheet and then use it to send email. What we're doing next is actually we intend to show you how you can actually get information from a Google Sheet and then probably send it to a particular email, send it to a particular website, or send it to your WhatsApp or something like that. So for this particular example, we are going to be using email. So as soon as that has been gotten, we're going to next node we are going to add is the Gmail node, and we are going to say send a message. Now, when you are doing this, when you're actually trying to set this example for the first time, it is advisable for you to actually pin this information that is here. Why that helps is so that you don't have to run your workflow every single time again, because now if this is pinned, when you open this next node, you can find out that the information is still here and kept here. But when you actually want to run the workflow on live, or you want the workflow to actually run, yes, on live, you it's advisable you actually unpin each and every one of those things. So for this example, we are going to Gmail account. To remember, yesterday I already created my credential for my Gmail account, and then message, yes, send, yes. So the email we want, or the email address we want to send this message to, is the email address that we got from the already existing email address we got from the Google Sheet. So, and what is that email address? 4Pulse Family Media. That is the email address where we want to send this information to. Now, it's as simple as just coming here and dragging and dropping the email address right here. But then when it opens up, what you notice is that the email address you dropped that was just email changes to something else. We are seeing brackets open, dollar sign, JSON. Then we see another bracket open, hyphen, yeah, curly bracket, dollar sign, JSON, brackets, email, and bracket close. Now this is called JSON. You know, I told you yesterday about JSON. This like that your information can be, your outputs can look like schema, table, or JSON. Now this is JSON, JavaScript object notation. I keep forgetting that word. This JavaScript object notation. So this particularly, you might not understand how this actually works. So tomorrow, one of our team members will be giving an in-depth look into JSON. Our in-house developer will actually give a deeper explanation, in-depth explanation on what is JSON, how JSON works. Because if we come right here, if we come here, you find out that there is something, there is the fixed and there is the expression. Now, if you're using expression, you're expected to write in JSON. JSON is also like a code method of using, is more like a programming language. So, but that is not mostly used by people who use no code tools, because AI is, people who are going to AI now are going into it because it's not, they are, AI is now making it possible for us not to use codes to actually do everything. But as we go further, I want us to use expression instead of fixed. So that is the reason why tomorrow our in-house developer will actually give an in-depth full explanation on how JSON works. But then you see what is written here, the result that we still have here is 4Pulse Family Media at gmail.com, which is exactly the same thing that we have here, which is, as you remember, what was extracted from the Google Sheet. So the subject of our message is as simple as sales recommendation, yes. And we don't want our message to go in as HTML. We want it to go in as a text. The message you want to send is we would love to have a 10-minute demo with your agency. So that's the message we want to send. So because this is already pinned, the workflow will run immediately once I execute it. Aha, I was hoping that a time will come that will actually run into one of these issues. This is actually called, you can actually look at this as a bug. You can call it a bug. This happens, programmers experience this a lot whenever you actually try to execute a program, execute a workflow, and then for some reason it's not executing. The execution is not executing. Right here, we'll see that what is written here is the email address in the to field isn't valid. So what it shows us, or what it's trying to tell us here, that the email address here is invalid. So for the sake of this example, I want to show us that this one of the sweet things about n8n is that it's a no-code tool, and it also has an inbuilt AI assistant. So for the purpose of this example, we're going to go straight to the AI assistant to ask it questions and to know exactly how to fix the bug or the problem that we have run into right now. So as we can see, it's analyzing the error and it's trying to give us a solution to our problem. Now, this is why one of the things I enjoy about n8n, even though you run into a mistake, it has an AI assistant that is actually supposed to help you solve your problem. So if we say, hi John, here is my top solution, invalid email address due to trailing space. The error is caused by an invalid email address in the to field. In your input data, the key is email with a trailing space, and the value is 4 pos with a trailing space. The expression you are using is JSON email. This returns 4 pos familymedia.com with a space at the end, and which is not a valid email address. To fix this, update your expression to trim white space. Okay, this removes any leading or trailing space. Alright, so from what it's telling us here, this is what we're supposed to put in there and not what is here. So I think I'm going to try copying this, see if it works. So I'm gonna paste this here. Okay, now we are going to try to execute this workflow again. We're going to try to execute it again. Alright, so it didn't work again. So what actually happened here is I actually had to go back to the code and actually look at it very well. The mistake that was made here is that I used an invalid email address. So I just had to repeat this same email address twice. The same email address that was here actually still repeated here, so that we actually, for the sake of this example, just use the same email address. That's why, if we remember, initially it was showing us email address empty, but now it's no longer showing us email address empty. If we go back here, if we go back to the Google Sheet execution, you can see now that the email address is no longer empty. It's actually executed and it's showing us the email address here. So now if we go ahead, remember this is already pinned. If we just go ahead and execute this, we see that the message has been sent. It's showing, this is seen at as JSON. And if we go right here to my email address, if we go to Gmail, we'll see the message that has just been sent right now. Sales recommendation. Here it is. Here it is. We would love to get your services. This proves to us that the email was sent and the workflow was executed successfully. So we can now unpin this. You see, I still noticed another mistake. I wrote this name twice. I wrote this 4 pos family media twice, which still makes the email address wrong. There we go, 4 pos family media. Yeah, go back to n8n. What we're going to do right now is we're going to actually execute the entire workflow. It goes from here to here and then it sends us a message. So we'll go back to our email to see what has just been sent. I'm going to refresh. And yeah, we see that. We'll go back to our inbox. We see that the email has just been sent again, and here it is. It's clearly written, we would love to get your services. Now if you look down here at this message, you see something that writes, this email was sent automatically with n8n. Now if we don't want to see this, when you're sending a professional email for a business, you wouldn't want it to actually show you this email was sent by n8n. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to n8n. We're going to come to the email. We're going to come to add options, send, reply, append, n8n. Now we're going to choose append n8n attributes, and we are going to turn it off. Once it is turned off, we're going to execute this workflow again. Now if you go back to the email address and we refresh one more time and come back to our inbox, so the message sent here, we'll find out that there is no longer email sent by n8n. It was just, now it's only just, we would love to get your services, and that's just it. So this is it for now. So as I said, tomorrow we are going to be looking into, tomorrow is going to be very wild, and tomorrow is going to be very full, because we are going to discuss deeply into JSON, after which I will I don't know how long it will take for our in-house our developer to actually go deeply and explain JSON for each and every one of the students to completely get a grasp of it. And I also noticed that most people who are already in the community are having issues based on the lack of systems or laptops. I'd advise, I believe this can also be replicated with our smartphones. So if you do have a smartphone, try it out, try logging into n8n and try. It's not as perfect as that of a system, but you can also try it out. So we are taking it slow. Some people might say we are too slow, but it's better slow than steady. I want us to get a full understanding of how these things work. Now I wouldn't go straight to the webhooks. The reason I didn't go straight to it is because there's a lot of technicalities involved, and I want us to get this thing step by step. So the first thing I want us to actually do is understand how JSON works, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take us through how webhooks and APIs works, and also I'm going to take us through a lot of other nodes. We have the filter, the loop. There are other nodes that comes to play. We can actually use a timer to delay how long it takes before these messages are sent. So, but all those we'll look into on the 4th day of the bootcamp. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. I'll see you all tomorrow.